So I've been getting a lot of calls today with people with ugly, weedy lawns, and that's what I do for a living is weed control and fertilization. But I just pulled up on a tiny, tiny yard, which I love. And I want to show you the yard. It's got a big patch of clover. It's got a lot of yellow wood sorrel, also known as oxalis, O-X-A-L-I-S. And I'm going to spray this yard and see if we can get it under control. And I'm also going to go ahead and I'm also going to fertilize this yard. And I want to come back and show you what this yard looks like soon, because I think we're going to make a huge difference in a short amount of time. The weather's warming up, which makes the herbicides work faster. So let's take a look at the lawn. I'm going to tell you what I'm spraying on this lawn. We're going to spray it. We'll come back and show you the results. All right, here's the lawn. I already put my little lawn sign out there in the yard, even though I hadn't sprayed it yet. And you can see the weeds that we're seeing here. It looks like some kind of cool season grass popping up. And you see all these little yellow flowers. This is the oxalis I was talking about, or yellow wood sorrel. And it's a little bit of a tough weed, perennial weed. And then also you got this big clumpy patch of clover here, and that shouldn't be a problem to get rid of either. And just Bermuda grass lawn. And again, this is tiny, tiny, tiny. I actually said they have artificial turf in the backyard. You got some pathetic looking dandelions here. You got some geranium, things like that. So these are just very common weeds that I see. But I love these kind of yards because it's so small. It'll be very fast and easy for me to take care of. As far as what we're spraying today, and I've got this Graham spray rig. Today's video is sponsored by my friends at Graham Spray Equipment. This is my 400-gallon spray rig, and this is what I'm gonna spray this yard with today. What I've got in the tank, I've got a split tank. So on this side, I've actually got a product we use to get rid of Poa annua. It's called Revolver. But on this side, I've got prodiamine. I've also got Change Up. I've also got metsulfuron. Those are three products that I use a lot. The prodiamine is my pre-emergent herbicide. The other two are post-emergents, and hopefully that combination is going to knock out just about every one of these weeds, with the exception of those clumps of ryegrass. The only weed that it may not knock out is this clumps of cool season grass. So I'm going to probably spot treat that with Tribute Total, which I have on my truck as well. I'm using 12 ounces of Change Up per acre, and I've got a 1/4 ounce of metsulfuron, which is under the product name Manor. I've got a 1/4 ounce of that per acre mixed up in the tank. If you don't know how to calibrate your rates, there is a video. You can just go to Lawn Care Life Calibration. So search that on YouTube, Lawn Care Life Calibration. There'll be a detailed video of that. If you want to get a weed control fertilization like me, go to lawncarelife.com. Check out the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy, which is a video course that I have with a lot of materials, pricing charts, programs, all kind of stuff for weed control and fertilization. All right, you see the fertilizer here I buy from a company called Harold's. This is a 3808, and it's primarily a slow release fertilizer, and I'm going to put this out. And with the weather warming up, it's going to be cooler this weekend, but I think soon it's going to be consistently in the 80s, and I think we're going to see some green grass sooner than later. One other quick word on this Graham rig here, because I have a split tank. You see those two yellow valves right there? When they're flipped in the up position, it's pulling from the small side of my tank, which is the 100-gallon side. If I flip those down, it's going to pull from the large side of my tank. So what I do right now, I've been spraying for Poa annua with Revolver on the small side. I put a little bit of blue dye in there, so I'll know that when it's spraying blue, it's coming from that side. Now, when I say a little bit of blue dye, I'm not talking about painting the yard blue. I'm talking about just a little bit so I can see the blue coming out of the hose. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually flip those two down, which is going to make it start pulling from that side. But there's still going to be some of the blue Revolver mixed up in there in the hose. So what I need to do is spray it back into that tank until it's not blue anymore. Once it's not blue, I'll know then, okay, now I'm spraying the prodiamine, Change Up, and metsulfuron out of this tank. So that's what I'm going to do. One more thing about this yard is, at this time of year, crabgrass is probably already germinated. So sometimes what I'll do, I'll mix a quinclorac product in there with it, which is like Drive Accelerate or Q-Ball or something like that. Well, I didn't do that on this particular yard. Sometimes that gets okay results, but I found that sometimes you still end up with crabgrass. And so what I'm planning on doing on this tiny little yard is, if I get crabgrass in the summer, I'll probably just have some quinclorac on my truck in a spray tank, and I'll just go around and spot treat it with a little 2-gallon handheld sprayer or backpack sprayer. The other option is sometimes people will use a product called Dimension, which can work both as a pre and post emergent for crabgrass. Anyway, ideally you just want to get that prodiamine out before it germinates. That's why in my area in Alabama we start spraying in January or after that fact, so I'm gonna have to deal with the crabgrass when it shows up. This yard was actually so small, I just sprinkled the fertilizer out by hand. It's just so narrow, I thought it was easier to do that. We're gonna check back and see what the results are in a few weeks. Out here spraying yards today, I wanted to show you an update on this yard. It's been about 3 weeks since I sprayed it, if you remember. And this yard had POA, had clover, a lot of weeds. Let me show you what it looks like now. And honestly, when I pulled up on the yard, I didn't remember exactly what it looks like. And I was like, wait a minute, I think this was a yard that had lots of weeds all in. You can see, let me show you like a little clover patch here. We're gonna come back and check on it one more time. But look what it did to that. Actually that doesn't look like clover. I don't remember what that was, but. Now this was that giant patch of clover that was right here. And you can see that it definitely knocked it out. Now the change up, the metsulfuron, they're just both gonna be gangbusters on clover, and as the weather warms up in the spring, it's going to work a lot faster. Now you look at the color of the grass, it's still not great. We've been getting down cool at night, still even in the 60s sometimes a day. So I'm waiting on some warmer weather for that fertilizer to kick in, for this grass to start turning green. So I'm going to keep extending this video out, because I've had people in the past, they comment on the videos, they say, oh, it just looks a little bit better, not, you know, a lot better. So I want to wait and let's give this thing some more time so I can show you a more extreme transformation. But look also what we're seeing here. Even the Poa annua, you can see it's starting to turn color, some more extreme than others, as you can see here. So it's knocking back that Poa pretty great as well. You can see here more weeds that's starting to suppress it. Today I sprayed it with Specticle and a little bit more change up. So if it didn't die before, it's definitely going to die now. And this, you say, well, Jason, why did you spray pre-emergent before? Now you're coming back with Specticle and more pre-emergent. I'm trying to get ahead of a lot of those summer weeds. So yes, the pre-emergent before can help with that, but this Specticle Flow does great on like Kalinga, does great on chamber bitter spurs, things like that. So that's my normal application this time of year in the spring, and I think this yard should be pretty clean moving forward. Like I said, I want to wait and see if we can get this thing greened up before we wrap up the video. So we'll check back next application, probably be in about 6 weeks or so. By then that fertilizer and warm weather should kick in and make this thing green. I'm very pleased with the weed control that we've received so far on this yard. It does look like even the yellow wood sorrel, which is tough to kill sometimes, it's dying out as well. More example of that Poa that's turning brown, so that's great to see. But as you see that stuff dying out, look what's showing up. This is nut sedge, so we're going to hit that probably with some Pro Sedge. Is a great sedge product I use a lot of times in the summer. It doesn't kill it, but it will suppress it. And there was this little weedy strip in the backyard as well, and you can see what it's done to these. These are some gigantic weeds that it's beginning to knock out. As you can see, we pan through here. If I spray it with change up again, it should finish a lot of these off. Again, you can see sedges popping up, maybe Kalinga, things like that. Hopefully, we'll get some good results with the Specticle on that, but I can also spray a sedge product and try to help some of that. But you can see the carnage that we've received from the first application. Of course, the important thing is we're not hurting the Bermuda grass. We are knocking out the weeds, and this Bermuda needs some help. It needs to fill in. It's probably limited from sunlight because of this fence here, but hopefully we can get the weeds in control and the Bermuda will start to fill in a little bit over the course of the summer. Well, we're back for the final update on this lawn. I wanted to show you what it looks like. It was about 6 weeks ago when we first got here, and you've seen in the video what it looked like. So let me show you what it looks like today. This is our Bermuda grass lawn that we've been working on, and you can see color is starting to show up. We're filming this now in late May. Warmer weather, fertilizer, rain. You see there are some thinner patches where we did have the weeds over here. The weeds are gone, and this Bermuda will fill in. I feel very confident about that over the course of the summer. But just very pleased with what I'm seeing here. Color of the grass. Weeds looking so much better than it did. Now, what am I going to battle this summer? Well, got a little bit of yellow nut sedge popping up here, a little bit of nut sedge over here. One thing we can do is just run the irrigation on like once a week instead of multiple times a week. Can help with the nut sedge to some degree, but it is a tough weed. But just wanted to show you the lawn and show you the update. Weed control and fertilization is not that difficult, but I tell you, when you use the right products at the right time, you get to see some dramatic results. And this yard was not very big and was not terribly difficult weeds, but just in a short period of time, be able to see this lawn transformed and look so much better. I really enjoy that part of the job. If you want to get in weed control and fertilization like me, you can go to lawncarelife.com and check out the weed Weed Control and Fertilization Academy. There's also pricing charts and other things for that. Also, I want to mention the 2024 Lawn Care Life Conference coming up in February of 2024. There's a link with details over at lawncarelife.com as well. Would love to have you there. There's only 300 seats available for that event. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys in the next video.